Can you actually die of fright? Hey, what's going on? Take a breath. Make it a deep one. You good? Because today I want to talk about something that sounds like an urban legend you read in a dusty book of Victorian ghost stories. You know the kind. Some poor soul gets spooked by a specter in the attic, clutches their chest, they fall over, dead, and the coroner just shrugs and writes, "You were scared to death" on the death certificate. Welcome to the Stuff You Should Think About, where I answer everyday questions about phenomena and objects. I'm your host, G. We always act like that's just a trope, right? Something meant for Gothic novels. But I've been digging into this and I realized it's not just a trope, it's actually a psychological reality. So today, we're asking the question, can you really die of fright? So look, you know about the flight or flight response, right? It's our oldest survival mechanism. Back in the day, when your ancestors were out in the savannah and they saw a saber-toothed cat, they didn't have time to sit down and analyze the threat. Their brain just went, boom, adrenaline, get moving. Your heart rate spikes. Your blood pressure shoots up. Your pupils dilate. And your body pumps sugar into your bloodstream for instant energy. It's really an amazing life-saving system. But here's the thing. Your body is an expert at turning that system on, but it's not always great at turning it off. When you get hit with a massive sudden shock, not just a jump scare in a horror movie, but a genuine soul-rattling terror, your brain releases a massive flood of catecholamines. That's a fancy term for stress hormones like adrenaline and non-adrenaline. If that flood is big enough, it's like dumping high-octane racing fuel into a lawnmower engine. That engine starts shaking, parts starts flying off, and eventually it just dies. Now, I don't want to sound like a textbook, but there's actually a name for this. It's called Takotsubo cardiomyopathy. Does that sound like a medical term? Yeah, but it's also got a nickname, broken heart syndrome. But wait, don't roll your eyes just yet. I know it sounds like something from a Hallmark movie, but it's real science. The name Takotsubo actually means a Japanese octopus trap. See, when researchers first discovered this, they looked at the hearts of people who had experienced extreme emotional trauma, and the shape of the left ventricle looked exactly like that trap. Basically, the surge of adrenaline is so intense that it essentially stuns the heart muscle. It stops pumping correctly. The heart stops being a rhythmic, efficient pump and starts struggling to move blood. And if that happens, you're in serious trouble. Here's where it gets interesting. Can you die just because you saw a ghost or a clown jumping out of a closet? Probably not. Unless, of course, you already had an underlying condition. That's the secret, right? Most of the time, in those scared to death cases, the person had a heart condition they didn't even know about. maybe an arrhythmia or a blocked artery or a structural issue. The fright wasn't the only thing that killed them. It was a trigger that the body couldn't handle. It was the spark that hit the gunpowder. Think about it like this. Your body is like a bridge. It's designed to handle a certain amount of weight, stress, exercise, and excitement. But if that bridge has a tiny hairline fracture and then a heavy storm comes along, it might finally collapse. The storm didn't create the structural weakness, but it definitely invited the bridge to fall. Now, if you want to go somewhere a little darker, if you're up to it, there's this concept called psychogenic death, or more controversially, voodoo death. You've probably heard stories about tribal cultures where if a shaman places a curse on someone, that person just fades away. They stop eating, their health declines, and they die within a few days. People used to think, oh, that's just superstition. But modern psychology has looked at this through the lens of learned helplessness. When you lose all control, you feel like you're absolutely 100% doomed. Your brain can enter a state of chronic, extreme stress. And that constant low-level or high-level stress is basically toxic. It suppresses your immune system. It wreaks havoc on your heart. And it essentially tells your body, go ahead and shut down. Is it fright in the sense of a jump scare? No. It's something deeper. It's the terror of the inevitable. I see you looking at the dark corner of the studio. Man, stop it. You're probably going to be fine. Most of us go through our lives hitting high-stress moments, exams, job interviews. That time you thought you lost your wallet in a foreign country, and we come out the other side just fine. Our bodies are remarkably resilient, but there's a lesson here. We spend so much time worrying about our physical health, going to the gym, watching what we eat, but we rarely talk about the physical impact of our emotions. We know that chronic stress is bad for us. We know that cortisol, the long-term stress hormone, is basically like battery acid to your organs. But we treat fright and terror as these fleeting things. We don't realize that they leave a fingerprint on the heart. So let's wrap this up, because I don't want to leave you here scared of your own shadow. Can you die of fright? Yes. Physiologically speaking, it is possible. If the shock is extreme enough, the adrenaline is high enough, and your heart is vulnerable enough, the engine can stall out. But here's the flip side. You're stronger than you think. You survived every single fight or flight moment you've ever had. You're sitting here listening to me, aren't you? That's 100% survival rate, my friend. That's not bad. The next time you're scared, just remember, your body is doing what it's supposed to do. It's trying to keep you here. It's trying to protect you. Just make sure you give it a break once in a while and breathe. Drink some water. Stay away from haunted houses if you feel like a little flutter in your chest. And hey, thanks for hanging out with me today. It's good to have you here, safe and sound. Same time tomorrow, let's talk about something a little less fatal. How's that sound? See you in the next episode.